She may seem affectionate, respond to your messages, look into your eyes as if you were the only one. But listen to what I'm going to tell you now. That doesn't mean she really wants you. Because the female's desire is not revealed in what she says. Hiding in silence, in the way you breathe differently when you feel something and pretend it's nothing. There is a part of the female mind that functions as an emotional vault, and the key to that vault is not what you give, but what you give. It makes you feel without understanding why. This is where most men fail. They try to win with logic, kind words, and insistence. But this does not activate desire. What is energizing is unpredictable emotional. It's that subtle influence that makes her think of you even when she doesn't want to. And let me tell you something even more dangerous. This desire, this drive that she hides even from herself, could be activated by another man at any moment. And if you don't know how to recognize and use it, the one thing that 99.9% of women cannot resist, you will see it move away, cool, change. You won't even understand what happened. And do you know why? Because it will not give you clear signals. It will disappear. You will be left with the feeling of I did everything right, but still lost. This happens every day, with thousands of men. Good men, with good intentions, who want to give of themselves, but who has not learned to use the language that excites a woman's mind. Silent psychological, tension, unspoken emotional control, the attraction of someone who doesn't need to prove anything, but is still desirable. You may not have heard this before. Perhaps no one has had the courage to tell you the naked truth about how female desire works. So, if you've ever been in a situation where everything seemed perfect and suddenly it changed for you, write in the comments, "She disappeared without warning." Or, if this is happening right now, just comment, "I'm living this right now." And if you are here even now, it is because there is a calling within you. The motivation that brought you to this video is not by chance, but because you know you need to understand how true feminine desire works. She no longer wants to be just another nice guy that you forget. She wants to be the man who stays etched in her mind, the one she feels, even in silence. And here, on this channel, we talk to those who he wants more than emotional crumbs. Here for those who are determined to dominate. Feminine psychology applied to attraction and relationships, not with ready-made formulas, but with strategy, presence, and emotional intelligence. So if you feel like this content spoke to you, not just as a video, but as a personal reminder, comment below with your commitment. Choose one of these phrases and write sincerely. "I will be the man you never forget," or "I understand feminine desire intelligently." These phrases aren't just words. They're phrases that connect you to a community of men who transform, men like you, who want to conquer the goal, who are not satisfied with superficiality. And if you want to continue this journey with me, subscribe to the channel now and turn on notifications. Like this video, because every click you make is another step in your transformation. The more you delve into it, the further away you are from average. The average person who insists on making mistakes is the one who loses the woman by not understanding what truly activates her desire. Here, we play another game, and the next step in the next video. Now, as you listen to my voice, I want you to understand something very serious. Female desire is not born from what you provide materially. It doesn't matter how good you are with words, how many flowers you send, nor how many times you say, "Good morning, beautiful," thinking you're making a statement. Because real desire, the one that leaves her confused, the one that makes her body react even when she tries to maintain control, has nothing to do with kind words or expected gestures. What moves this woman in your head right now is what she feels and can't explain. This feeling is only aroused when you know how to reach the right emotional point. When a kind of psychological tension is activated in her, it makes her question herself, imagine herself, and surrender emotionally, even against her logic. What I'm going to offer you here is not a cheap trick. It's an understanding of emotional mechanisms that most men will never master. This is exactly why these men become the nice guy that she respects but doesn't want. What you will learn in this video is different, because here we are not talking to the masses. We talk to men who want to become emotionally strategic, who no longer accepts being ignored or forgotten after a date. From understanding that to truly achieve it, you have to go beyond the surface. You're about to discover the key that turns any casual conversation into a deep emotional connection. The key that, when used the right way, makes him think of you even when he tries to avoid it. If you feel this video exactly describes what you're experiencing, comment below, "I'm the guy you'll really want," or "I'm ready to play another game." Comment now. If you don't like it yet, love it. If you haven't registered, register. This is where the ordinary men stop and the irresistible men begin. You have to stop thinking that female desire begins the moment she physically submits. No, this is just the end of the process. True desire begins much earlier, in a realm that most men don't even know exists, the sensual realm. Her body is responding, yes, but it's responding to how she feels before you even understand what you're feeling. It's the silent emotional impact, that invisible shiver that happens when you look at it for a few seconds and look away intentionally. When you say little, but firmly, it shows that you know exactly what you are doing there. Feminine desire arises from the atmosphere you create, not the words you say. You could be on the couch, distracted, or you could be on the other side of the room. You don't exchange a single word, but if she feels that there is something inside you, hanging by a thread, that may or may not reveal itself, her mind begins to work on its own. Start by imagining. Create internal stories. When a woman begins to fantasize, she has already begun to desire. Her body will respond to whatever her mind creates. And the most interesting thing is that you don't even have to touch her. He just needed to control the environment. And do you know what makes this happen? I've become the man who understands that emotional stress is worth more than just a hasty kiss. This good silence creates more expectations than 1,000 compliments, because her true desire is not about the present, but about anticipation. It's about what could happen, but hasn't happened yet. It's when you look at her, not as a man who needs something from her, but as someone who is in complete control of his own attraction. This breaks all her defenses. And if you've ever been in a situation like this, where your presence alone left a woman uncomfortable, comment, "I felt it," even without saying anything. And if you haven't experienced this yet, but are ready to be that man, write, "I am activating her desire for silence." I want to see who here really understands the game. Now that you understand that feminine desire begins in the sensual and emotional realm, it's time to take a deeper step. There is a silent element that intensifies everything you provoke in it: absence. Here's one of the biggest mistakes well-meaning men make every day, which is to always be present, always available, always try to show that you are there for her. And this is exactly what makes you little by little invisible in her eyes. Feminine desire does not thrive in predictable comfort. It arises from the tension between wanting and not having, between imagination and doubt. The man you really want is the one who knows how to appear strong and disappear elegantly. He creates a striking presence, precisely because he knows the right time to disappear. This absence is not abandonment. It's an emotional strategy. When you disappear in a calculated way, you activate a powerful psychological trigger within her: the fear of loss. Controlled scarcity makes him start having thoughts, questions, and memories. She thinks of you not because you are there, but precisely because you are not there. This is not a game. That's it. Feminine psychology was cleverly applied. You don't need to say anything. All you need is to understand the correct rhythm to move forward and backward. When she learns to control this oscillation between presence and absence, she begins to desire you more strongly. You start to wonder what you're doing, with whom, and why you stopped responding so quickly. The truth is that the more predictable you are, the less intense the emotion will be towards you. So, practice scarcity smartly. Reply calmly. Don't rush to be the first to bring up the topic. The value of your silence. It says more about your worth than any compliment you can give. If you notice that when she left, she came after you with a greater desire, say, "My absence awakened the desire." Or if you're ready to apply it strategically, write, "I disappear with a purpose, not an accident." I want to see who's starting to think like a strategist. Feminine desire, when truly awakened, does not respond to ready-made formulas or mechanical repetition. It was born of emotional surprise. It is not expected. The touch that comes not when you are ready, but when you least expect it. And that is exactly why it becomes so unforgettable. Most men think that touch is physical, that it is about intensity and constant closeness. But the real power lies in the psychological touch. This happens when she touches not only her body, but her emotional system as well. This happens when your touch is full of intention and emotional control. She may not even understand what she feels, but she feels it. And this is the secret. The touch that arouses feminine desire is neither the longest nor the most exciting. It is the one that interrupts the pattern. The hand that holds her for a brief moment, steady and sure, and lets her go quietly, before she is ready to let go. This generates an emotional emptiness, a small sensory shock that her body registers as, "I want more." When the body misses it, the mind begins to chase it. You plant an emotional memory there, without words. There is no pressure. You mark emotional territory, not by insistence, but by the calculated absence of a touch that came and went in time. That's what I call it, applying neurotic desire to female psychology. It is effective because it activates an area in the female brain associated with anticipation and reward. It's as if you're saying, "I can touch you, but only so far." This limit, far from dividing it, brings it closer. Because the touch in this case does not end at the skin. It continues to vibrate in her mind, even after you're gone. You will remember your hand. You will remember the moment you caught it and let it go. You will want to relive it without understanding why. And if you have used this kind of invisible presence before, comment now. You thought of me through touch. Or if you want to start applying this technique, write, "I will." Mark it without you having to insist. This is a real emotional strategy. Whoever understands this plays on another level. The female mind responds to stimuli that many men do not notice. While the majority insists on praising beauty, repeating ready-made phrases, or imposing an artificial connection, the strategic man realizes that what truly distinguishes a woman are words that are out of the ordinary, and that are not in movies, nor in social media, nor in the common imagination. It's those phrases that seem to come from a place you never expected, that break the rhythm of the conversation and leave you in a state of emotional interest. When you say something that passes through her logic and touches her instinct, it doesn't matter if it's rational, difficult, or closed off. You get in. Once you're in, you don't get out. These words don't need to be complicated, but they should be real and full of intention. They work because they show up at the right time, in the right tone, and mainly because they reveal a look you haven't yet received from another man. When you say something like, "You're beautiful, but I'm more captivated by your silence than your voice," you're not just offering a compliment. You reveal that you see beyond the obvious. You're inviting her to dive into a more intimate place where she doesn't need to perform, just feel. This arouses a passionate desire much stronger than any direct statement of seduction. The secret is not to say what you actually expect to hear. What arouses emotional desire are phrases that generate silence, create pauses, and make her rethink the moment. A few words spoken deeply have the power to create an emotional mark that lasts longer than any touch. Because female desire is not excessive. It's in the space between what was said and what you imagine you mean. And if you ever manage to paralyze a woman with an unexpected sentence, comment, "You looked at me differently after what I said." Or if you want to learn to speak less and score more points, write, "I will master her emotional language." Let us see who here understands that the sound of desire begins where ordinary words end. Feminine desire is powered by something that defies logic, mystery. Not the empty, forced, or theatrical mystery, but the mystery that arises when you don't give it your all. When you feel clear about what you want, but it's impossible to fully decipher. It is this emotional ambiguity that holds her back. When you feel like, there is more to you than what is shown. This creates a magnetic field where desire grows silently. Because the real secret to female desire is that she wants to feel like she's conquering someone who's completely emotionally unavailable. She wants to be chosen, but she also wants to feel like she needs to earn that choice. When the man becomes clear, she feels like she actually owns him, and the desire diminishes. When he becomes an emotional mystery, she wants to prove herself to him. And this engine is what keeps them connected. Therefore, your job is not to be distant, cold, or uncaring. It's unpredictable at the right point. She should know that you have intentions for her, but you should never be sure whether she has completely won you over or not. This hidden doubt keeps the attraction alive. The predictable man has been forgotten. A man who masters the art of emotional duality is remembered, desired, and followed. It's about being accessible enough to spark interest and mysterious enough to maintain value. This is called strategic emotional control. When you balance clarity with uncertainty, you won't be able to disconnect. She thinks about you, even when you try to avoid it. She feels like she has you, but something inside her isn't quite there yet. It moves her. This activates it, makes her want more. If you ever notice that when you make yourself a little mysterious, you become more interested. Comment. She came after me when she didn't understand me. If you are ready to consciously implement this strategy, write, "I am the puzzle you want to decode." Let's see who here controls his emotional presence. If you've made it this far with me, it's because part of all of this touched on something I've already gone through. Maybe that was the time when she seemed interested and suddenly calmed down. Maybe it was when you tried your best and still felt like you lost space in her heart. Or perhaps at this moment, you are trying to understand why it disappears when you appear more and appears when you start to move away. The truth is that you have just accessed content that most men will never have access to, because few are willing to delve into this matter. Feminine psychology applied to attraction and relationships, and even fewer are willing to face the fact that her desire is not animated by what is visible, but by what she feels silently. Today, I understood the most hidden secret about female desire. I've learned that what really moves you are not rehearsed words nor predictable situations. Rather, it is a perfect combination of sensual and strategic absence, emotional touches, rare words, and dominant ambiguity. This is what makes the man you want, but there is still something deeper. Something that makes her think of you even when she's busy, when she's surrounded by other people, or even when she's trying to forget you. This is something called emotional motivation for mental repetition. A specific point in a male's behavior triggers a recurring memory in him, like an internal echo. This is what I will show you in the next video. So, if you want to continue this process of transformation and learn how to use the power of emotional repetition to become irresistible in her mind, you need to watch the sequel now. Don't wait. Because while you're thinking, another man could be activating that trigger inside her. And she won't let that happen, not now that she's starting to understand this game from the inside out. So go out there, click on the next video, and take control of how you start being remembered from today on. If this video made it clear for you, write below. Now I see how desire works. And if you're ready to activate the mental trigger that will make her think about you every day, comment, "I want people to remember me even in silence." Let's see who's ready to stop forgetting and start being impossible to ignore.